Okay, so have you ever, messed up so bad you just want to do over? Like a total reset button on life?
Oh, yeah. We've all been there.
Well, Book of Judges, it's kind of like that, this constant cycle of messing up, facing the music, begging for another chance. And today we're diving deep into one of those stories.
Right. It's not your typical feel-good section of the Bible.
Nope, not at all.
Hmm.
This is Jephthah we're talking about, and his story. Let's just say it's got more twists and turns than, I don't know, pick your favorite drama.
What's so fascinating about Judges, though, is how real it is. It doesn't sugarcoat leadership even when it's divinely appointed. It's raw, it's human, full of those tough choices we all make.
And Jephthah, he's almost a poster child for that. Rises to power, makes this promise that changes everything, and then has to deal with the fallout. But before we get to the vow, we got to set the stage. So picture ancient Israel, caught between a rock and a hard place. On one side, you've got the Philistines, on the other, the Ammonites.
Neither known for their friendly diplomacy.
Understatement of the century. And caught in the middle, the Israelites. Again.
It's during these times of immense pressure that we often see that recurring theme straying from tradition, falling back into old habits, which sadly just leads to more oppression.
Rinse and repeat, right. They make mistakes, they face the consequences, and then who do they turn to?
It's almost like clockwork.
God, they cry out, hoping for a miracle. It's like their go-to move.
And can you blame them? It's human nature, isn't it? To hope for a way out, a second chance, even when we've messed up. We see it even today.
100%. We haven't changed much, have we? So enter Jephthah, skilled warrior, a natural leader. But there's a catch.
Ah, yes, the son of a prostitute. Immediately, he's starting life a few steps behind, at least in the eyes of society.
Talk about a tough break, right? And it gets worse. His own family, they reject him, exile him, send him to this land it's literally described as belonging to worthless men.
It really makes you think about those labels we put on people, the judgments we make, and how often they're wrong.
It's like something out of a movie, right? Total underdog story. But here's where it gets good. Those same people who turn their backs on Jephthah, well, when the Ammonites come knocking, guess who they need?
The one man who could save them, the one they cast aside.
It's almost too perfect. So what does Jephthah do? He could have told them where to go, right?
I know I would have.
He was a better man than me, that's for sure. He agrees to lead them. He sees this as his chance to prove himself, to earn the respect he was denied.
Driven by years of being underestimated and fueled by a desire to protect his people, Jephthah steps onto the battlefield. But before the fighting begins, he makes a decision. A vow to God.
And that, my friends, is where we're going to leave it for today.
Welcome back. Last time we left Jephthah on the edge of battle, about to lead the Israelites against those pesky Ammonites, but he'd made a promise to God. You know, one of those, if you do this for me, I'll do that for you kind of deals.
And those never end well, do they? At least in the book of Judges.
Right. So Jephthah, he's feeling the pressure, obviously, wants to prove himself, lead his people to victory, all that.
Total hero moment, right?
Except
vows made in the heat of the moment. Well, they have a way of coming back to bite you. And this one, oh boy, this one's a doozy.
So what did he promise? Spill the ancient beans. Judges 11.30-31 lay it out. Jephthah basically says, God, if you give me victory over these Ammonites, the first thing that walks out of my house when I get home, burnt offering, yours.
Whoa. Okay, intense much. You think he was picturing like a dog, a servant who overslept?
One would hope, but see, this is Jephthah and his life. Rarely gone according to plan.
Oh, this doesn't bode well. Lay it on me.
He comes home victorious, pumped, ready to celebrate. And who comes out to greet him, probably singing and dancing, thrilled her dad's back.
Don't tell me.
His daughter, his only child.
You've got to be kidding me. Talk about a victory celebration gone wrong. What happened next? Did they have like ancient therapy back then?
I wish. Judges 11.35, it says he tore his clothes, grief just consuming him. This wasn't some random animal sacrifice. We're talking his legacy, his future, all wrapped up in one very unfortunate homecoming.
I'd be hitting the undo button so hard if I were him. I mean, do we know for sure this is what God wanted? Feels kind of messed up, even for back then.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Did Jephthah misunderstand? Was this some test of faith gone tragically wrong? Scholars, theologians, they've been debating this for centuries.
No easy answers, huh? But in the middle of all this, there's Jephthah's daughter. She didn't sign up for this.
It's easy to forget about her, isn't it? And all this talk of vows and sacrifices. But her response? It's heartbreaking.
Tell me.
She asks for just 2 months. 2 months to mourn the life she'll never have, to wander the mountains with her friends. Imagine that kind of farewell.
Man, talk about heavy stuff.
It really makes you think about the human cost of these stories, the sacrifices made in the name of faith, of duty. And it doesn't end there.
There's more.
After her death, a custom pops up in Israel. Every year, young women would commemorate Jephthah's daughter. Now, was it respect? Regret? Maybe a bit of both. We don't know for sure.
It's like this whole story is shrouded in sorrow.
It's a story that sticks with you, makes you question those easy answers we often crave. Jephthah's victory, it came with a price. And those ripples, they were felt long after the fighting ended.
Welcome back to the deep dive.
Yeah.
We left off with Jephthah drowning in grief after that whole vow situation. You'd think things couldn't get worse, right?
Well, about that, the book of Judges, it doesn't exactly do happy endings.
Nope. It throws another curveball. This time it's the Ephraimites, another tribe of Israel. And they show up, well, let's just say fashionably late to the party, after the Ammonites are already toast.
Yeah. Talk about adding insult to injury. And you can kind of see their point. Imagine training for a big fight, the fight happens, you miss it, and nobody tells you until it's over.
Yeah, I'd be peeved. Like, hey, thanks for the invite. But also, maybe hold off on criticizing the guy who just accidentally sacrificed his daughter.
Right. But the Ephraimites, they weren't known for their tact. Plus, there was already bad blood between them and Jephthah's tribe, the Gileadites. So they show up spoiling for a fight.
And Jephthah, still heartbroken over his daughter. I'm surprised he didn't just, burst into tears.
He wasn't exactly in a forgiving mood. Instead of trying to smooth things over, he ends up, mirroring their anger.
Two wrongs don't make a right, especially in the Bible. What happened?
Full-blown civil war. Gileadites against Ephraimites. It's a chilling reminder, isn't it, that even people who share the same faith, the same history, they can still tear each other apart.
And how do they decide who was who in this war? Uniforms, secret handshakes.
Even crazier. They used a pronunciation test. One word. Shibboleth. Say it wrong, you're the enemy.
You've got to be kidding me. All that over how you say shibboleth.
It sounds absurd, but this is the reality of conflict, isn't it? Something so small, so arbitrary can spiral out of control. And the worst part, Judges 12 tells us 42,000 people died. Their own people.
Jephthah won the battle, sure. But at what cost? His leadership, his reputation, it's all forever stained with blood.
And that's how his story ends. 6 years as judge, marked by victory and unimaginable tragedy.
So what's the takeaway? Why are we still talking about this guy thousands of years later?
Because his story is human. It reminds us that everyone, even those we put on pedestals, they're flawed, capable of making huge mistakes. And those choices, they have consequences, ripples that last longer than we realize.
It makes you think twice about those easy decisions, doesn't it? And reminds us that peace, forgiveness, those things are always worth fighting for, even harder than we fight our enemies sometimes. Anyway, that's our deep dive into the wild, messy, and thought-provoking story of Jephthah. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome to Charlie and Mia's podcast. We're embarking on an exciting journey to read through the entire Bible in just 1 year. Every day, we dive into Scripture, exploring its meanings and how it applies to our lives today. We invite you to join us on this incredible adventure of learning and discovery. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you never miss an episode.